Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So today, as you guys can see up on the screen, we're going to be reacting to this little clip from a recent live stream that Jankos did. This clip is called Jankos Compares Perkz and Rekkles. So I thought this was a really interesting title, really interesting video. Obviously, it caught my attention. And I think it's really interesting because in this video, in this clip, he does talk a little bit about kind of the leadership aspect of G2 and stuff. And I know I made a video, I think it was like a week ago, where he was talking about G2 having a leadership issue. And all of a sudden, people were jumping to a ton of conclusions like, oh, see, they're missing Perkz. Perkz was their leader. They don't have a leader anymore at all. And I was telling everyone, hey, just slow down a little bit. He didn't say that G2, didn't have a leadership issue before, or maybe that this isn't anything new or something different for G2 or whatever. He never said that, we don't have Perkz, he was our leader. So I thought some of these comparisons would be interesting, but then also I was just curious of what he was going to say between the difference between Perkz and Rekkles, because he's not just going to throw his new teammate under the bus. So were we going to get anything spicy here? Would we get any insight? I thought it'd at least be interesting to kind of dive into, and I thought it would really hopefully spark some of this more discussion between what went wrong for G2 this split and what is going to go right, hopefully, for them going forward. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you guys have not already, please take a second and smash that like button. I would appreciate it so much. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, my shirt is like going in and out of the green screen right now. It's kind of funny. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content so you guys don't miss out on anything we got going on in the near future. With that being said, let's get right into this. I'll be pausing it here and there with some things to say, obviously reacting to the clip and everything, but let's see what Jankos has to say, comparing Perkz and Rekkles.
Just need to pay for it. They think losing Perkz was more harmful to the team than getting Rekkles. I don't think losing Perkz is the reason why G2 didn't win Spring Split. I just think that we slacked off quite a lot, and we were also just like bad, and there's many.
So when he's talking about them slacking off a lot, that's kind of an issue that I have, where I think maybe Grabs needs to take some more responsibility here, and maybe even it might be time for G2 to make a little bit of a coaching change. And this is something I've talked about before, where if Jankos is saying, this team, again, this team was built for international success. They're not built for the LEC. They're built to, at the very least, compete for an MSI title, for the very least compete for a world title, at least to be in the conversation and the discussion. It was supposed to be Europe's super team. This is supposed to be the team that's Europe's big hope. That's the West's big hope that G2 is spending all this money and all this resources on. They have everything they need. They're one of the biggest spending teams in Europe, in a region that doesn't really spend a whole lot of money. They've had international results before. They just brought in Rekkles, this huge free agent, signing one of the biggest roster changes in League of Legends history. And they're supposed to be, going to MSI and getting, at the very least, getting that international experience, getting to practice against Damwon, getting to practice against FPX, practice against RNG. And the fact that they got lazy, so lazy that it prevented them from even getting to MSI, like, that is a big issue. Yes, like Jankos says, yes, they were maybe just a little bit bad, and, Wonder wasn't playing great, and Jankos wasn't playing great, and Mickey wasn't playing great, and there was a lot that went wrong for G2. Maybe the patch, maybe the meta doesn't fit them perfectly, but who's to say the meta is going to be drastically different come Summer Split, or drastically different come summer playoffs, or drastically different come Worlds or something. We could see a very similar meta, especially Riot has gone kind of away from making huge sweeping changes in the meta, and kind of making gradual changes over time. And with the new item change and stuff, this is how the meta could be for a while. It could still be a team fighting meta come summer. It could still be some of the similar champions that we see in the meta right now. And if G2's having issue with that, I think that is part of a coaching issue. We haven't seen G2 developing much year over year, split over split, I wouldn't say. They made the World Finals, won the MSI title in 2019. Their results were a little bit worse last year. Now their results are even worse this year. And again, if the players are getting lazy, that definitely seems like a leadership issue that, to me, especially coming from like a traditional sports background, that seems like a coaching issue. It seems like a coach that has lost his pull with the team, a coach that has lost the locker room, they would say in traditional sports. And to me, that's a big red flag. And it's not Grabs' fault entirely, but just sometimes a coach and a team, the relationship has run its course. And when you can't keep your players motivated, even motivated enough to win the domestic title, which was supposed to be the easy part of the year for G2, I think there's a lot of questions to start being asked about Grabs, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to cover more of this stuff maybe in a full video later on, because I think it's a legitimate question. I think going into the summer split, Grabs is maybe coaching for his job and for his future.
Many ways that we basically have work harder. That's my point. I think we can work harder. Do I think that losing Perkz is a blow to the team? Of course. But I also think that Rekkles is very, very, very talented. So I think both of them are pretty much same.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously there, again, is Perkz a very, very talented player? Yes. Was he the best AD carry in the world? In 2019, there was a discussion, you know, on Kai'Sa, on Xayah. This man was very, very good. He was absolutely world class. In 2020, he was still pretty good, but, you know, people were slowly starting to move him down the AD carry rankings, not only in the world, but even in Europe. He wasn't as good. He definitely had a small champion pool. He was definitely uncomfortable in the position, and, you know, he just didn't like the position, so he wasn't going to grind it. He wasn't, like, as motivated to practice as much or to improve as much or whatever, and I'm sure he knew in his mind that, hey, I'm switching to mid lane next year, so I'm going to do my best. Obviously, I'm super competitive and want to get through this year, but he wasn't thinking super, super long term about being an AD carry because that wasn't in his plans. So just as far as, you know, saying that we lost because we had Rekkles and not Perkz, that doesn't make too much sense, especially when Rekkles came in and was pretty damn good. This is your MVP of the spring split, and now, you know, it's a regular season award, so that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the playoffs, but he was still pretty damn good in the playoffs, probably the best performing member of G2 in the playoffs. So to say that yeah, we lost because we didn't have Perkz, that wouldn't really make too much sense. Even if it's true in some ways, it's not entirely true. You know, Rekkles coming in didn't make Wonder play as poorly as he played. That didn't make Jankos play as poorly as he played. That didn't make Mickey play as poorly as he played. It probably even makes Rekkles' performances even more impressive. The fact that he was able to still perform in the playoffs with Mickey in the form that he was in, with Wonder in the form that he was in, with Jankos in the form that he was in. So obviously, the G2 players definitely need to take a lot of responsibility, and Rekkles, I'm sure, he's even taken some responsibility himself, as he should, and Cap should, and everyone on G2, and the coaching staff and the management, everyone. But like I said, Jankos talking about this being an issue with we didn't work hard enough, or we weren't motivated enough. That's a big issue, and I think that is kind of a big problem. And I'm sure they'll come back into summer split, you know, motivated and working hard and stuff, but like it shouldn't take you know, bouncing out third place in the LEC playoffs to get motivated for something like this. I think that is pretty concerning. But like he said, he thinks both the guys are amazing. He thinks they're both very, very talented players. He doesn't see a huge difference between them. If anything, I think most people would say Rekkles is probably a better AD carry, but Perkz maybe does some of the other things better. You know, the mental game, the strong mental, the little bit of craziness, a little bit of playmaking and things like that. But just as far as straight up marksman gameplay, Rekkles is almost as good as it gets.
I just think that we used to work harder. I think that what Perkz was really good at is kind of maybe not motivating people, so to speak, but just like being very good at like making people try hard.
I love this part because he's like, I wouldn't say Perkz is good at motivating people, but he just makes everyone try hard. Like, he's literally just saying that Perkz is good at motivating people and would get them motivated, would get them to focus and try hard. And he's saying that they didn't miss Perkz, they didn't need Perkz, they didn't lose because they didn't have Perkz. But then he's also saying that, you know, Perkz was the guy who got us excited, got us trying hard, got us focused, and what we didn't have this year was focus. That was the only thing that was holding us back. Now, I also, again, don't think that's entirely true. I think that, you know, like Jankos said, G2 was maybe a little bit bad, maybe had a bad read on the meta and didn't perform. Maybe some of that is focus, and maybe some of that is kind of determination and stuff. But also, we've seen a little bit of a steady decline, like I said, of G2 the last couple of years. And the truth might just be that all of a sudden, these guys might not be the best individual player at every single position in the LEC. That happens from time to time. You know, everyone has peaks in their career. Everyone has ups and downs. As you're at the top, there's other people coming for your spot, and all of a sudden, G2 might just not have the best player at every single position anymore. You know, people might be catching up to Wonder. People might be catching up to Jankos. People might be catching up to Mickey, or they might be coming down to their level. Now, if they were a little bit more focused, if they tried a little bit harder, yeah, sure, they could have done better, and that's a convenient excuse to have, especially after getting knocked out. You know, obviously your ego wants to say, like, yeah, we could have won, but we just didn't try hard enough, but that's kind of a bullshit excuse, too. Like, you know, you guys got outplayed. You guys practiced as much as you thought you needed to, or whatever. You guys took it as seriously as you thought you needed to. It's not like you didn't care. It's not like you didn't want to win. But then, obviously, also him saying that, Perkz was the one who got them excited, got them motivated, got them trying hard, it means that, yeah, a lot of people were right. When I was saying before, we need to wait and see. When Jankos was talking about G2 having a leadership issue, it does seem like they are missing Perkz in that regard. It does seem like he was the guy who got them focused. A crazy team of guys who are a little bit cocky, a little bit, the motivation's fleeting. They've won so many LEC titles. They don't really care too much about any individual regular season game or even, I guess, the playoffs even. Perkz was a guy who got them focused and got them going. And now that he's not there, they don't have anybody to step up, because we found out that Rekkles doesn't want to be that guy. And, Jankos decided he was going to be that guy, but he decided he was going to be that guy like 4 days before the Rogue series where G2 ends up getting eliminated. And that's just not enough time. So, yeah, this team has a lot of issues. Obviously, there definitely seem to be missing Perkz more than we thought. Jankos, I think, is downplaying it a little bit, but I get why he's doing it also. Because, like I said, you're not just going to throw your new teammate under the bus. And it's also not even Rekkles' fault. He didn't sign up to be the leader. He's the new guy here. He's a new guy with the squad. They should have somebody else. Or at the very least, if you don't have players with the personality or characteristics or traits or whatever, then it has to come from the coaching staff. And that's why I keep coming back to this scenario that perhaps Grabs is not the right coach for this specific G2 roster.
He was just a good leader, I think. But I think just skill-wise and shit, I think it's pretty much the same thing. So it's just about us not working hard enough. I think that's the biggest bad thing, we just didn't work hard enough.
Yeah, and he does end up saying it there at the end that, yeah, Perkz was just such a good leader, and he did a lot of those out-of-game things and even in-game things, like yes, so much of leadership is preparation leading up to the match, getting people excited, hyped up, whatever, but also in-game, being able to calm people down, being able to inspire people, being able to tell people, hey, the 1-2 memes, I don't care if we're down in the series, I don't care if we're down in this game, we're better than them, we're going to find a way to win, we're not losing to Rogue, in the semifinals, we smashed Rogue every other time we played them ever. We're going to beat them today. We're not losing to Mad Lions, having that confidence, having that focus, which I'm sure, even this year, it seemed like G2 was lacking a little bit. Grabs wasn't surprised that they lost. Jankos said he wasn't surprised that they lost. That's not the G2 mindset. It's not the G2 style. And yeah, I think they definitely did lose a little bit of attitude, a little bit of swagger with Perkz being gone. And I don't know how they're going to find that. It's not something you can manufacture. It's not something artificial. Jankos can say he wants to step up and he wants to be the leader of this team or whatever, but he had that opportunity in spring split, and he failed to do it. Now, obviously, this split was a big wake-up call. Maybe he'll be able to do it in the spring split, but, a lot of this stuff is natural. A lot of this stuff is innate. A lot of this stuff just has to come out. And if it's not your style, if it's not something you do, it's not something you're able to do, good luck just being able to do it. I don't know. But again, this G2 team's obviously very, very talented. They're still likely to come back really, really strong in the summer split and be a force to reckon with. But all of a sudden, it's really, really interesting, especially with Mad Lions going to MSI. They're going to get this awesome international experience. They're going to gain a ton of confidence. They're going to know that G2's beatable. Rogue is going to know that G2's beatable. So what is G2 going to do in terms of their leadership and stuff? Like Jankos said, skill-wise, Rekkles, Perkz, take your pick. Both of them are awesome. Both of them are great. But all of a sudden, G2 finds themselves without a leader. And that's not a great spot to be in, especially when you're trying to accomplish very, very difficult things like beating the best teams in the world. But right now, they're struggling to even beat the best teams in Europe. But that is pretty much it for this video today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. I would really appreciate it if you dropped a like. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this situation? Do you think G2 is really missing Perkz? Do you think somebody's going to be able to step up? Do you think they're going to be okay? Or do you think this is a big long-term issue for G2? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully, I'll catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.